Hello friends. Today we'll be discussing episodes 5 and 6 of The Handmaid's Tale, which was released in 2017. June has now visited the commander's office for the 34th time. Each time they played a game together. Fred decided to give her a gift, one of the few remaining glossy magazines that hadn't been destroyed. Possession of such things is forbidden, but the commander assured her that he can do anything. He also told the handmaid that he enjoyed seeing joy on her face. June began to recall how Moira once took her phone and walked up to the first guy she saw, asking him to help choose a profile picture for her Tinder. That guy turned out to be Luke, and that's how June met her future husband. In the present, Nick walks into the kitchen where Martha Rita has given him something to eat. June realizes he's looking for any excuse to see her. Meanwhile, Mrs. Waterford asks June to help out in the garden. June worries that her mistress might have found out about her secret meetings with the commander, but Serena starts talking about something else, that June's time is almost up and she still hasn't gotten pregnant. This could mean being sent to the colonies. To June's surprise, Serena openly suggests that the problem might lie with the commander himself and that perhaps they should try conceiving with another man. This, of course, is forbidden, but Serena desperately wants to become a mother. She chooses Nick, whom she has already warned. It's supposed to happen today, once June returns from the store. As always, June goes to the store with her fellow handmaid, Offglen. There, she sees Janine talking about her baby daughter. Another handmaid warns her not to speak of such things aloud. Suddenly, June spots Emily, who had recently gone missing. She's no longer Offglen, but now off Stephen. Emily says she's too dangerous now to help Mayday. June doesn't have time to learn more. A new Offglen comes to collect her. On the way home, the new Offglen sternly advises June not to speak with Emily again, warning that it could ruin everything. She admits that she once lived an immoral life, but now she has food and a roof over her head. Later, Mrs. Waterford comes for June, and they drive to a house designated for her meeting with Nick. June remembers having lunch with Luke in a cafe back when he was still married. There was an instant chemistry between them. Luke had told his wife he was eating at work. In the present, there's a knock at the door. It's Mrs. Waterford with a handmaid. There's no time for prayers. They need to begin immediately, and so they do. While it's happening, June recalls the first time she and Luke were alone in a hotel room when their connection turned into something more. During all this, Serena waits in the house. When it's over, she touches June's belly and says a prayer. At the same time, Emily is sitting on the porch of her commander's house playing with a dog. The commander's wife comes out and says she's feeling unwell and wants to skip the ceremony. Emily, unfazed, replies that she can't be sick every month. Meanwhile, at the Waterford house, it's time for the ceremony as well. This time, Serena can't hold back her tears, and the commander begins to touch June, something strictly forbidden. That same evening, at another private meeting with Fred, June expresses her frustration. She warns him that if his wife finds out, she could send her to the colonies, or do something even worse. The commander brings her yet another magazine as a gift. In his view, women are now free from the imaginary problems of the past and can focus peacefully on fulfilling their biological duty. June couldn't take it anymore and told the commander that, unlike him, love was not an empty word for her. Fred disagreed and claimed they understood what mercy was. As an example, he mentioned Emily, who had been granted forgiveness, a minor surgical procedure that freed her from base desires. June wanted to leave but stopped when she heard the commander say, "We only wanted to make the world better, but not better for everyone. Someone will always suffer." June didn't make it to her room before vomiting into the kitchen sink. Nick witnessed it. June directly asked him if he was an I, a government informant. At first, Nick tried to dodge the question, but eventually admitted that it was true. June couldn't help but laugh hysterically. She remembered asking Luke back in the hotel to leave his wife. Luke agreed. He loved her. Later, June went out shopping again. Taking advantage of the moment, she approached Emily and told her she knew what had been done to her. Of Stephen, for the first time, referred to herself by her real name and asked June to join Mayday, the resistance movement. The new Offglen quickly pulled June away, but meanwhile, Emily managed to hijack a Guardian's car. Despite the warnings, she had no intention of stopping. Everyone around was shocked, and Janine was thrilled. Emily ran over one of the guards. June smiled at her and gave a nod. Soon after, Emily was pulled out of the car by force, and gunshots rang out in front of everyone. When June returned to the Waterfords' house, she couldn't stop thinking about Mayday. She realized that the word comes from French and means "help me." At home, Mrs. Waterford was working on her hobby, painting. She told June that not all women are cut out for their current roles, but she believed Fred's handmaid was intelligent and strong. Knowing she was taking a risk, June secretly visited Nick that night with very specific intentions. This time it wasn't by command, not by force, but for pleasure, a true moment of closeness between two people. At that same moment, the handmaids were scrubbing blood off the wall where the bodies of the executed usually hung. That day, high-ranking guests, foreign diplomats, were expected to arrive in the country. They would be staying at the Waterfords' house. In the evening, June was taking a bath when Rita came in and told her the mistress wanted to see her in the bedroom. Serena explained that a trade delegation from Mexico was arriving soon, and they had to make a good impression. She advised June to answer all questions carefully, as the guests would be curious about how women actually live in Gilead. As Serena walked down the stairs, she recalled how in the past, despite their busy schedules, she and Fred always made time when the moment was right to conceive. The reception began. June was brought downstairs. Just before entering the room, she quietly exchanged a few words with Nick, and they managed a subtle touch of hands. The commander welcomed the guests inside. June was introduced to the ambassador and the other diplomats. They had heard a lot about the handmaids but couldn't tell what was true and what were just rumors. They started asking June if she had become a handmaid of her own free will. Mrs. Waterford then invited everyone to the table. At the end, the ambassador asked June if she was happy. June had no choice but to say yes. During dinner, the commanders spoke about how their country had fully transitioned to organic farming. Castillo shared that Mexico was facing major crop issues due to global climate changes. Then she turned her attention to the quieter part of the gathering, the commanders' wives. On the way, Castillo had read a book written by Serena back when the United States still existed. Her ideas were quite bold, especially regarding the role of women in society. Serena had even been arrested for incitement. In response, Serena simply said that she had changed her views a long time ago. In a flashback, Serena recalled a time when she welcomed her husband home from work, while chaos was erupting across the world and massive changes were just beginning. The couple decided to escape reality and go to the movies. Fred asked her if she had finished her academic article titled "Fertility as a Resource." Suddenly, Fred received a message. Orders had been issued. Later, Nick came to June and said the commander wanted to see her in his office. Unable to resist, Nick kissed her, and June kissed him back. The commander was clearly frustrated by the judgmental looks from Castillo and the other diplomats. He believed they had no right to criticize, since their own people were suffering from starvation. When he saw that June was ignoring his anger, he reminded her that being there was a privilege and ordered her to return to her room. But June, despite her inner revulsion, asked for permission to stay. Fred ordered her to come over and kiss him. She did, then later scrubbed her teeth feverishly. The next day, Aunt Lydia was instructing the handmaids in preparation for a formal reception with the delegates. She arrived with Commander Waterford and ordered that any handmaids bearing physical punishment marks step aside immediately. They were to be taken back to the van. This brought Janine to tears, but Aunt Lydia promised her a whole tray of desserts. The grand hall was decorated lavishly. Delegates, commanders with their wives, handmaids, Marthas, and aunts were all gathered. Serena recalled how once her husband informed her after a council meeting that she would not be allowed to speak, simply because she was a woman. That was the new order. Serena accepted it with dignity. In the present, she joined the reception and gave a toast in honor of the city, a place where a highly moral lifestyle now prevailed. She emphasized the efforts made to save the environment and said that, thanks to the handmaids, there was hope to resolve the greatest demographic crisis in history. The guests were then shown children born from handmaids. The delegates were awestruck. Childbirth had become nearly a miracle. One of the handmaids told June that rumors were spreading. The city might begin trading handmaids, selling them to foreigners for outrageous sums. At the Waterford household, things began to shift. Fred was getting ready for another meeting and, with regret, said he wished his wife could join him. That evening, Serena was preparing for bed. Her husband returned, and she congratulated him on successful negotiations. Fred told her he considered her an incredible woman, though he sometimes forgot it. They kissed. According to the new rules, they were supposed to restrain themselves, but they didn't. That night, June broke down emotionally in front of Nick. She couldn't believe she had lied to the ambassador, saying she was happy. For the first time, she told Nick her real name. The next day she got another chance to speak with Castillo, who gave her some Mexican chocolate as a thank you for her honesty. This time, June told the full truth about the hell the handmaids were living in. She pleaded for help, but Castillo said she couldn't do anything. In her hometown, no living child had been born in 6 years. The commander entered and asked if everything was all right. Castillo replied that she was just giving Offred some chocolate, and that she wanted to give another one to the lady of the house. After they left, one of Castillo's escorts approached June and said he wanted to help. He didn't know where her daughter was, but he assured her he knew where her husband was, and that he was alive. Time was short. The man handed her a piece of paper and promised he would deliver a message to Luke. Dear friends, thank you for watching. If you'd like to hear more recaps of The Handmaid's Tale, let me know in the comments.